Do you want aim like this? Then you've come to the right place. Hey, I'm Inspired Full and Spit for short, and today we are going to be covering my new Apex Legends settings, and I'm going to make this video a quick one, going just over the basic settings. If you want the longer in-depth guide, I already have a video on that for ALC. I have finally migrated over from Advanced Look Controls to Basic. I have been doing Advanced Look Controls for 5 years now, so I needed settings to help me get to that point where I can just play the game and forget about it. And this is the best settings that I have found where I can just stay with and I don't need to mess around with it any further. Changing numbers won't always fix your aim. It's all about just adapting to one thing, and getting used to it is going to be the best way to learn this game with aiming, and this is it. So let's get right into settings. First, we have to cover gameplay, starting with incoming damage feedback, 3D crosshair damage feedback off. You don't want any unnecessary visuals. If you have this on X, there's just going to be an X that shows up when you shoot. That you want off. Damage numbers stacking. Reticle, I highly recommend changing this to a color like blue, cyan, pink, yellow, anything that you don't usually see in the game. Laser sight, same thing, but doesn't matter as much. Enemy health bar enabled, of course. Weapon autocycle on empty off. Taking damage closes death box or crafting menu off. This is how you shield swap. Always sprint on. Auto sprint off. Mantle boost activation jump. Mantle boost UI off. Interact prompt style compact, so that way text is visually way more smaller. If you have it on default, it fills up a lot of the screen. Having it on compact is way cleaner, much more practical. And that will do for all of the necessary settings in the gameplay tab. The only other thing that I might suggest changing is colorblind mode. I have it on Trinopia because it makes all the colors pop more. And onto controller tab, button layout. If you do not have back button attachments, these settings should be great for you. I switched the melee button and crouch button, and I also made the ping button right joystick, allowing me to slide, shoot, way easier than if I were to have crouch on circle like default, or B if you're on Xbox. This button layout has allowed me to play the game way better since I've changed these settings. Stick layout default, interact reload button, have it on tap to use a reload. That's just the most simple version of it, but if you want to get more advanced and have one on hold, you can, of course. Crouch button, I highly recommend hold. It makes it way easier to move around in this game, in my opinion, than having it on toggle. Aim button, hold. Survival slot button on. That way, left D-pad will allow you to have any of your survival items out, like the evac, respawn beacon, etc. The only reason to even have survival slot button off is just so that you can inspect spam with an heirloom. That's it. That's literally the only reason to have it off, so it's just better to have it. It's just better to have it on, okay? Dead zones for L2, R2, you want to have it on none. Cursor speed, I highly recommend around this area for the controller speed. It allows me to do shield swaps easy. All right, here is the reason why I made this video. I have went from ALC settings, which is down here, advanced look controls, and I've messed around with those for a long time. I finally have it off, and now I am going to be doing look sensitivity 5-4. So a lot of people when starting this game will always recommend 4-3 linear, and I personally have never liked it like this. I like to have at least some range with being able to look around and shoot, and 4-3 linear is not for me because I prefer a higher sensitivity. So I just went one up on both, and this has been perfect. This is the sweet spot for me. I love it, and I highly recommend trying this out. Hopefully it's the sweet spot for you as well. I have been loving the sensitivity. It's been great. 5-4, and then linear for response curve. Linear is still great. And then per optics settings, this is where you can fine tune it a bit. These are the changes I made. With per optics settings, you want to have it ramping up over time. 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. Mess around with this to your liking, but make sure it's in a ramping order. I, for a long time, have always tried to mess around with all of them in here, but I kept messing around with it too much. I thought it was repetitive for me just changing like tiny little numbers that either would drastically change the way I played or slightly change it it in a way that might even be worse than what I previously had it at. So having it as basic settings, but then changing per optic settings being the only advanced settings I go into, I think that is the best balance you can have on Apex now. And I have been way more successful in all my gunfights ever since I started doing this. That is why I've made this video, because I finally found something that works for me. I also needed to update my settings video. So now that I've covered all of this, I'm going to quickly go through the last two tabs of my settings. Look dead zone, small, movement dead zone, small, vibration off. Having it on off makes it so that vibrations don't interrupt your aim, or at least removes the chance of it affecting your aim. Now, video, if you are new to Apex, you're gonna be defaulted at 70 for some reason. I don't know why. It's really strange. For some reason, we're defaulted on 70 when you first play the game. This is awkward. You can't really see much of your screen. Everything is super up close. This is way too close. For a long time, I just maxed it at 110, but I have now just gone to 106, and that's been my sweet spot now. Yeah, just have it at least 100. That's all that matters for field of view. Just have it on at least 100. Brightness, this depends on your room. I usually have it around here. FOV ability scaling. Disabled is actually better. What this is certain legends. Let's just do Octane. I think that's the easiest one to cover. When I use a stim, the field of view changes, it increases, and then slowly goes back down. I like that effect visually. It feels cool to have. But if you want to actually win more fights and not have the chance of that messing with your aim, having on disabled is better, so that way it's not changing any of your FOV when you're playing the game. But I just like it on enable. That's just a me thing. Sprint view shake, minimal. Graphics mode, if you can do performance, do performance. Even though I have a PS5, I do not have the proper display TV, so I cannot enable it. Audio, you want to have your sound effects higher than all of your other audio settings, so Master Volume 45 has been great for me. And they just added this audio mix. Have it on focused, because this is Apex's way to try to fix audio. There's still a lot of audio issues in the game. I've still had times where I don't even hear opponents that are near me. So hopefully this keeps getting improved over time. But yes, this is better than the original. Always have it on focused. Advanced audio options. Sound effects, have this at the max. Dialogue volume. Now, legends in this game, even though that they spam a lot of voice lines, some of the voice lines are actually useful. So I wouldn't have this completely off. I would have it maybe 20, 30, 40, around that range. The rest of these settings are all personal. Other than these, I would highly suggest having it on critical only, so that way it is the specific, very important audio. If you have it on all, then it's just going to... There you go. Second I turned it on. So critical only makes it so that it is specifically the most important audio that you actually need, so that legends are actually giving you the important information in the game rather than just spamming different voice lines that don't actually contribute to the fight itself. So you can do that for legends, pinging, and announcer as well. That is going to wrap up all of the settings here. I really hope this video has helped with your controller settings. I'm finally getting back into Apex Legends content, and I'm going to think of some fun and interesting ideas. I just wanted to start things off with a settings guide because I finally fine-tuned my settings to something I like, and if it's helped me, maybe it'll help someone else as well. But if you are not that person who wants just an all-around go in, have the settings ready, don't touch it again, if you want to actually change your settings, keep improving it, keep adjusting it, then check out this video right here.